Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. I first want to say I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter with visiting with family and friends or both. We had a wonderful time, one adorable time. I didn't upload just because Easter snuck up on me. And so it was one of those things where I was like, yeah, I had to do one or the other, and I had company coming, so I did the one. And left the other. I hope you guys will forgive me for that, but I thought that this week I would chat a little bit about how little tips and tricks that I have done to try and stay healthy. Now, this is not coming from a place of I've got it all figured out. I very recently was diagnosed with PCOS, which just means my hormones have been out of whack since a long time ago. And it has led to a bunch of different things, including a hysterectomy and a diagnosis for IBS. Lots and lots and lots and lots of fun. But I have recently had to go through a bunch of different things with my health and trying to find time and places for healthy living, exercise, that sort of thing. And if you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Jamie, and I have 3 kiddos. I homeschool. My eldest is turning 14 tomorrow, which I still can't figure out how that happened, but he is autistic, and so I do homeschool with him and his special needs program, his therapy program called the Sunrise Program. I will leave a link down below if you want more information about that, but it has been one of the things that has made a big, huge difference in how he is developing, but it takes time and effort and whatever. And then I'm also homeschooling my 2 typical daughters who are 12 and almost 11. And so, yeah, my life is busy, and that's all before we do all the feeding and all of the laundry and dishes and sweeping and all of those things, which again, I do get help because I ask the kids to make contributions to our family, but it still requires a lot from me, and that's okay, and that's fine. But I've had to kind of figure things out. So I did want to share a couple of tips and tricks that I have developed over the last several months. But if you have tips and tricks that you use, feel free to leave them linked down below in a comment so that we all can benefit from the collective wisdoms of busy moms are us. So for the first thing that I would say is I had to make a giant shift in my eating and how I ate due to things that I couldn't eat because they bothered my insides, or I just recognized that they might be causing some of the weight issues that come with PCOS and all of that fun stuff. And so the one thing that I wanted to say right off the bat is if you are finding that you're having to make a huge change in your diet, do one thing at a time, allow it to become a habit, and then move on to the next thing. So for an example, for me, because I am a busy mom and trying to get lots and lots of stuff done in a few short hours, I always found eating really, really hard to get accomplished. As my husband would say to me, tea does not equal breakfast, Jamie. So I found it a struggle. And the things that I used to grab was things like toast. I could throw it in the toaster, have some toast done, I moved on. Or oatmeal, I'd have one big giant bowl of oatmeal and call it good until supper time. And the issue with those things are they're very carb heavy. There's the word. Carb heavy. And for people with PCOS, some of us, we hit carb and our body goes, store it. And I'm like, no, don't store it. So one of the things I had to figure out was how to back away on that. So one of the things that I did was I liked eggs, and my favorite vegetables are zucchinis. I know, I'm weird. Just go with it. So I would chop up I chop up some zucchini, some onion, I put it in a frying pan and I cook it up with a little tiny little bit of butter, and then I boil a couple of eggs, and that is my breakfast, and there is not a carb in sight. And so I really have appreciated that, because then it was really easy for me to go, okay, I'm going to do this instead of that. And I found it doesn't actually take any more extra time than it did to cook oatmeal or to make a couple of pieces of toast. So that would be one major thing that I have done, is just change one meal at a time, and then after that has become habit, then you move on to the next, and it's so much easier and less overwhelming, especially when you're feeding your kids something completely different, which obviously happens because they would be like, zucchinis. So I get what I like and they don't have to eat it, so we're good. Everyone wins. Another thing that I have found really helps is to double up or multitask the same amount of time for two different things. So one of the things that I did was I used to sit down and read aloud with the kids on the couch. And it wasn't a bad thing. They were doing their own thing. Like, it wasn't really a cuddle session or anything like that. But I would sit down for it and I was stationary for it. And that was pretty much the only time that I actually kind of sat down. But it became really apparent that we live in Alberta, Canada, which means that, I don't know, 75-80% of the year, it might not be that bad, yeah, about 70% of the year is winter, or it's cold or rainy or something like that, very windy out or something like that. And so going outside on a regular basis, if you're not a child, is not an enjoyable experience. And so I was waiting for summer, and I really needed to stop waiting for summer. So we got an elliptical trainer of 4 in our living room, and what I do is I read aloud from the elliptical trainer. So I'm hitting 2 things at once and getting in just a walk. I don't run. I'm not, trying to win any time stamps or whatever. I do about a half hour walking and reading at the same time. And I always feel accomplished, because I can say, okay, yeah, I did something physical and I was teaching my kids. So the last thing that I was going to share is more of something that you personally would know whether or not this is an idea for you or not. But I've also become really aware of, for women in particular, it is hard to step on a scale. And if you get into the habit of stepping on the scale, say every day, you can have these really highs and really lows. Some people like to know. I have always been going by A, measurements, and B, how my clothes fit. If my clothes start feeling really tight and uncomfortable, I know that maybe it's time to lay off of the Easter candy. Am I the only one? Because again, carbs, and my body goes, we should store that. No. But it's one of the things that I've really noticed about myself, is that I really need to make sure that the number on the scale, while it can be important and shouldn't be never done, it can also become a really mood setter, if you will. And so I really have had to go, I'm only going to step on it in these certain specific instances, and there's too much information in that, and you don't want to hear it. But that was another one that I really wanted to articulate, because I think for women, especially moms who are, I'm 42 years old, and so we're, getting to a certain time in our lives where things are happening or not happening, and we need to deal with that. So I am still in this process. I'll probably update you, in a few months, after the summer is done, because I think that that's going to change some of the things that I do as well. But I really wanted to just share, if you are struggling with your health and your, health journey, how do you exercise, how do you deal when you have small children, please know that you are not alone. This is not something that is isolating to you. It is all of us. All of us have different versions of health journeys and what that looks like. And I hope that just one of these ideas might help you feel like you're getting yourself on track. And if it's just step one, again, I think health journeys are years and years, and we always like to look ahead and go, I want to be over there, or we see something on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and we go, I want to look like that person. And it doesn't matter whether our bodies are actually capable of doing that. We're still like, I want to be there in 6 months or whatever. And I think it's really more important that we take care of ourselves and go, not in a selfish way, but in a, I want to be as healthy as I can be to take care of my kids and my family, but also be okay mentally with it. And so if I can do one thing, then I can move on to the next thing, and it becomes a habit and it becomes a lifestyle, and then it just is easier than trying to change everything all at once and become this stranger, a stranger version of you. I hope that this helps. I hope that this encourages you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Welcome to all the new subscribers. And if you are new and not yet subscribed, feel free to leave a comment down below introducing yourself, of course, but hit subscribe and the bell button so you know every Sunday when I upload. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and be with me, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.